So we're gonna take a break from our. We're gonna go take a break, hear some ads from our sponsor, and then we'll be back to have a very interesting show for you today.
Tween with your child this independence on Dominica's fastest mobile network. Digicel gives you more data, more talk, more coverage. You and your child will enjoy the new stylish DL4S handset. Oh yes, get two DL4S handsets and two Prime Ultra bundles for only $470. One for you and the other for your child. Stay connected with your child this independence and throughout. Visit our retail store or speak to any of our agents today. Digicel and Dominica. Better connected this independence. Happy 45 years of independence. Terms and conditions apply.
Connectez et puis enfants en saison indépendance là et puis compagnie télécommunication en Dominique qui plus vite. Digicel cabao plus d'état, plus opportunité pour parler. Ou et puis enfants ça est joué en portable neuf à notre DL4S. Oui messieurs mesdames, DL4S et puis D Prime Ultra Bundle pour seulement $470. Yon pour enfants. Restez connectés et puis enfants en saison indépendance là et puis après visitez magasin Digicel Joli et puis parler et puis au monde. Digicel et puis Dominique. Meilleur connecté, indépendance là. Digicel casse de Dominique en bon indépendance. C'est des thèmes et conditions qui vont y faire.
Welcome back to Creole Heartbeat. I'm your host, Julie Roberts. We have Mr. Ron Lander in studio with us this morning. We're expecting to have an exciting educational discussion on something he's very passionate about. Before we continue the show, I just want to wish anyone who's celebrating a birthday, happy birthday. Sending birthday wishes out to Jolina Prince. Enjoy your day. Have a fantastic one. To anyone else who is celebrating their birthday from the Creole Heartbeat family, we send you greetings and love. If you're celebrating an anniversary, happy anniversary. And also to everyone on the beautiful island of Dominica and even the diaspora, happy Independence season. Good morning, Mr. Lander. It's a pleasure having you here. How are you?
Good day. I'm fine this morning.
You're fine this morning?
I'm very fine. I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. So I want us to tell the people exactly what we're going to discuss. And I know we have it in layers. It's more layered than an onion here this morning.
Yes.
Because we want to give history, we want to give examples, we want to give passions, we want to just give everything so that it will be properly understood.
Yes.
So, but in essence, we're just going to speak on the cultural heritage of the of Dominica and also the impact of the World Creole Music Festival and everything in its environment.
Very, very well. We are going to look at the evolution of Cadas and its impact on the creation of the World Creole Music Festival. We're also going to look at the evolution of the World Creole Music Festival over the last 20 years. And I will be presenting some recommendations as to how we could improve on what we're doing at this point in time. I am speaking from a very informed position in that I was one of the pioneers of the World Creole Music Festival. And I was, in the days when the World Creole Music Festival was created, I was a young person. We look at the creation of the Cadas by Exile One in the early part of the 1970s. And the main players in there were Gordon Henderson and Fitzroy Williams. Fitzroy Williams was recently in Dominica. He's got certain challenges. He was in Dominica and was able to spend some time with him. He comes from my same area, the Big Yard in Bath Road, opposite the Botanical Gardens. Very talented guy. When that musical art form was created by Exile, I was still at high school. So I was socialized and culturalized in a rich, melodious, colorful music. Very lyrical, strong storytelling. We were the third English-speaking Caribbean country to develop a distinctive musical art form. The first was Trinidad, Calypso, then reggae, Jamaica, and then Cadas Dominica. Barbados tried something spooch, but it did not work. So we were the three countries that developed a distinctive musical art form. Trinidad, Calypso evolved into soca. Very interestingly, Dominica music played an important part in the development of soca. The guy who developed soca was Lord Shorty Eye. And Lord Shorty Eye spent a significant portion of time in Dominica before he returned to Trinidad and introduced soca. Soca has evolved over a period of time. Then Jamaica out of the reggae came dancehall. And dancehall is in existence there. And we, out of Okada Slipso, came bouillon. So you could see those three major areas in the Caribbean that started a distinctive musical art form, and that musical art form has evolved over a period of time. During the evolution of that music, we had outstanding bands like Gramax, Midnight Groovers, Bell's Combo, Below Men, Black Machine, Mammoth, Black Affairs with Anthony Gossi, Mantra. I would like us just to introduce one or two of those songs in there, those powerful lyrical songs.
Sitting on carapende nous bien chaîné en petit bateau. Jouer nuit, nous coincer, nous bien bateau. Pas de question de repas Afrique encore. Nous en activité, ça pas café fort.
Okay, so do you have another one, or we will can continue and then? Okay. All right.
Depuis nous tout petit, moi connaître nous décadrer ensemble. Actuellement pour moi dire l'amour touché au capot moi pour pied. Depuis nous tout petit, moi connaître nous décadrer ensemble. Actuellement pour moi dire l'amour.
Yes, very, very beautiful music. The lyrics are intact also, as you said.
Intact,
Yes.
colorful music. Mm-hmm. You're in all the different instruments, and people are singing and telling a story.
That up to this day is still relatable. Up to this day, the messages that were placed in most Kada Slipso songs of then is still relatable now. You know, you can see the things they were talking about happening now also.
Yes. That's the power of Kada Slipso music.
Yes.
You know, and there was a dominance of our music in Guadeloupe, the French West Indies, France, Europe, Africa, and USA. There was a stage where Gramax played in the Super Bowl in Miami. That's where our music was. And the kind of respect there was for Dominican musicians, the quality of music we were playing. During that time period, initially, as a teenager, I went to school in Bahamas. And I brought up Kada Slipso. They couldn't understand the lyrics, but the music was so infectious that they enjoyed it. Also, when I did my first degree in Barbados, I brought up a lot of Kada Slipso. We used to have Island Nights and Lucian Night, and people enjoyed the colorful, melodious music that Dominica was producing. Finally, when I went to school in Canada, I did the same thing because I was socialized and culturized in a very rich music that was highly respected all over the world. So I had no problem in promoting that quality of music. However, during the period 1980 to 1995, the Dominica Freedom Party took over the management of Dominica. And during that period, the areas of sports and culture suffered. There was not emphasis on sports and culture. As such, numerous Kadas bands disappeared. And the persons who kept Kadas music going were the guys in the region and internationally. People like Exile One, Gramax, Anthony Gossi kept the musical art form going. And people continue respecting the quality of music that Dominica was producing. When I graduated with my MBA from Concordia University in 1995, I secured a job in 1997 at the National Development Corporation. And I was invited by Sheridan Gregoire to a meeting to discuss the World Creole Music Festival. When I went to that meeting, I immediately saw an opportunity for the development of a cultural industry. I was a director of industry. We had other areas we were focusing on. And I saw the opportunity for developing a cultural industry, and I went full speed into it.
So you were director of industry.
Director of industry.
Can you have our audience know exactly what role the director of industry played?
Okay. At that time, we were looking at developing local industry in Dominica. One of the areas we focused on was agribusiness. And we grew blows. We grew Benjo Simos. We had a guy out of Casibros doing Banis Farms, doing banana processed products. And all those entities have disappeared. During that time, you had the company in Maho, coconut products, doing very well. And we were just looking at coconut products. Because what happened with coconut products, they were so excellent that Colgate Palmolive decided to buy them out because they saw them as a competitor. And Colgate Palmolive came in and invested heavily in Dominica coconut products. So much so that Dominica coconut products had its own jetty down in Maho to export whatever they were producing. However, at this point in time, those entities have just disappeared. One of the other areas that we're looking at is tourism plant development. And we were focusing on local entities, Garaway, Fort Young, Anchorage, helping those people to grow and helping other entities to grow. Another major focal area was the development of an international airport. In a 3-year span, we brought in an entity called Stanley and Planning, and they were able to develop all the studies, all the designs for the international airport. So we're looking at a development of the airport and tourism development. We also looked at information technology. We saw an opportunity for young people in programming, in areas of software development. And we're working with the Taiwanese to see how we could develop that industry. And the final area we were looking at was small business development. These were the 4 major areas. And then when the World Creole Music Festival came about, I saw an opportunity for a cultural industry because Dominica is rich in culture. I've been all over the world. And when you go to seminars and workshops all over the world, there is a day put aside for cultural exhibition. And I've never seen a country as rich as Dominica in cultural presentation. All over the world. The only place I've not been is Africa. But all over the world I've been, and I've never seen anybody with that level of cultural presentation. So,
and sorry, I don't mean to cut you.
No problem.
But when you say cultural industry, what should we get from it? Because people see it as a different thing.
Okay, we looked in terms of developing the musical art form.
Okay, so
First
music.
of all, the musical art form based on Kadaslipso, given the respect that we have for Kadaslipso. So we could export Kadaslipso, or bands could go out there, like the bands from Jamaica, make money and come back to Dominica to spend it. Or bring in persons to consume our music in Dominica. Also our dance, our ballet, our quadrille, or heel and toe soca, and that kind of things. Those areas are another very important areas. Our verbal expressions. You see a young group, how they call them, Cicero Creole sixth form singers, and you see how the people express our music. How Jean Lawrence Maturin was doing, that quality of presentation. Our Kalinago culture, that rich Kalinago culture that we have. All those areas we're looking at developing. And when we started the festival, persons coming to the festival from Guadeloupe and Martinique, because we had the ballet and the quadrille and the heel and toe involved in there, persons were getting contracts to go to Guadeloupe and Martinique and perform. And when they performed, they got paid. And they brought back that money to Dominica. That's how you grow your economy in different industries. And this is one of the areas that we're looking at very seriously.
Okay.
So when we started the first festival in October, November 1997, the leader, the manager was Sheridan Gregoire. Sheridan Gregoire was the manager and the leader. the guy who was driving the process. You've got fellas like Eddie Toulon, who has passed on. He was the executive director. Wadiko Charles was the main person involved in there. Jeffrey Brisbane, Oliver St. John, Steve Hyacinth, Armstrong James, Sobers Esprit, Colin Piper. So we had a group of persons who were dedicated to seeing that thing work. And our budget at that time was very small. Julius Timothy was the Minister of Finance. And at that time, he had confidence in us, but there wasn't a lot of money in circulation. So he gave us a very small budget.
Can I guess it?
Sorry?
And what if young people like us can guess what that budget is?
Amount of money to allow us to operate. Okay? But we were so creative in what we were doing with the small budget that we were able to present a high quality of a program, a high quality program. And there we featured Kadaslipso, and Bunyon was just coming on with WCK and First Serenade. That Bunyon was still very colorful, very, very colorful, very musical. Then we had the cultural expressions I said earlier on, the ballet, the quadrille, the Kalina culture, the Creole lyrical expression. And more importantly, we created a market for local food and products. We had a section where we were keeping the festival, where we were exhibiting local foods and products. And visitors enjoyed that. And we saw a growth path for that particular industry. Importantly, we involved compa music. And this is one of the areas I respect the Haitians a lot for. Their musical expression and their cultural expression. I respect them a lot for that. Other areas, we'll talk about it another time. Then we had the Zouk music, Kassav. Kassav was just developing, and Kassav was playing continuously for us in Dominica. And interestingly, we went to Africa, where we brought down a group from Africa and also from America, Bokwik Zaitiko. So we were looking at all areas of cultural expression to supplement what we were doing in Dominica. Notwithstanding, Dominican musicians and Dominican performers carried the thing.
So you had less outside bands
than
local bands.
Very good.
On average, how many outside bands were placed on the festival?
On average, two foreign bands on average.
Okay.
We aim for 5 performances every night. And in between the performances, we had our ballet, our quadrille, our cultural expression.
Okay.
So it was a whole package.
All right.
Okay. So we continue focusing on the development of the cultural industry, promoting local music and cultural expressions. Why we're doing that? Because we wanted to contribute to the development of our local economy. You look at your economy and you look at your areas of strength, areas that you have developed, your core areas, your core competencies, and you see how you could develop those core competencies to stimulate economic activity. And that was one of the areas we saw that we could have used to stimulate economic activity.
Okay. So you said you went to study 3 times. Did you study economy or economics at any of these times?
The first time when I was a teenager, I did tourism management. When I did my BSc, I did economics and accounting.
Okay.
And when I did my MBA, I did economics, accounting, and management.
Okay, so you would say that you're privy, you're savvy, you know what's happening.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's
all right.
my area.
So it's your area, and you were supposed to stimulate that, or the group. I usually say the men that you.
The men together under the leadership of
I didn't hear any women on the group, but
yeah.
But
importantly, it's very good you make that observation. The persons who were involved in coordinating of moving the bands around and so on were tourism development officer, and these were mainly ladies.
Okay.
Sandra Corriet, and I don't remember the other names, but these were ladies trained in the tourism division.
Okay.
And we look at the whole product where tourism and industry could come together and present a product for the development of Dominica. Okay. So not only would have the indirect benefits when they spend in purchasing goods and services, when they came to the show, the persons who were benefiting most were Dominican musicians.
Okay. So you were qualified to manage the economy, the economics of the festival. And you were telling us of some of the areas that you guys were trying to amplify, so that would have been realized. So go ahead.
Yes, very, very good. And then when we came to 1999, we did 97, 98, 97, 98 was challenging for us because we were evolving, learning, and seeing what we could do to develop the World Creole Music Festival. When we came to 1999. 1999 happened to be birthday 21 for Dominica. And when I saw my gate receipts exceeded $1 million, I said, we're into big business. That is big business. And if it's managed properly, it can have a very important impact on Dominica. And at the time, nightly, we're charging $45. A season ticket was $120. Nightly now is $150, $120. Season ticket may be close to $400 now.
Okay, and you're making the comparison to, because I mean time has evolved, times has changed. Things, a pound of sugar was maybe 50 cents then, but now it's almost, it's a pound of sugar is what, $2? Slim, I know we're young. It's $2. We don't buy sugar, but but what I'm trying to say is I just don't want our message to be misconstrued, or your message, I should say, to be misconstrued. So we understand the tickets were $45 and now it may be $150, but I want to make sure I get your point right, because prices, the economy, everything has changed. So what's the point you're making about the prices?
You see, at that time we were focusing on our local musicians.
Okay.
No, the show is much more expensive now. No, you got 16 bands. You got to pay tickets for 16 bands.
Okay.
You got to pay hotel for 16 bands. And these guys command some high rates.
Okay.
So you have to be very selective on who you bring in. The rates, I agree, inflation and so on, a change in time, there must be increasing rates. But that significant increase, I'm wondering why that significant increase.
Are you saying it might be attributed to the amount of bands that's coming in from outside, hotels and all these things?
Yes,
it plays a role.
What you are producing.
Okay.
And we had an approach of publishing audited accounts. I haven't seen an audited accounts for quite a while of the festival. And one of the areas that we paid close attention to was complimentary tickets. When you're in parliament, when you're in cabinet, you get 2 complimentary tickets, and that is it. The persons who operating get free and that is it. But today everybody gets complimentary ticket. Complimentary ticket is duvet in 2x2. So again, that is the increasing cost. And this is how we, under the guidance of Sheridan Gregoire, and more importantly, Julius Timothy, and I wish you well, Julie. I know you're going through some challenging times with your health. I wish you well. You're a good man. I wish you well. I hope that you recover. Because that was somebody who was playing a very important role in the development of the musical art form. Then came 2000, the following year 2000. 2000, the government changed. Labour Party came into power. Sheridan Gregoire said, look, I am associated with the Workers' Party. I've got to leave. But Mr. Lander is an independent, free-thinking person. I think he should be the manager. So I became the manager and financial controller of the festival. And it was a lot of hard work. Interestingly, the day after the festival, I got a letter sending me on contractor leave. Tell me that we don't want you again. You send your financial controller on contractor leave the day after the festival. Who's going to balance the books? Who's going to produce the financial statement? What has happened since? What has happened since over the last 2 decades? That vision of developing a cultural industry has disappeared. No serious attention has been to Calypso and other cultural expressions. The development of bands and programs, you don't see that. You see some remnants in there. You see people like Cornell Phillip, Colin XP, and there's a young lady called Abia singing some kadas, very impressive. And Lobster, Alsati, Pisa Mamau, Lobster, is very, very impressive. So you see certain semblances, you see certain areas of persons attempting to do Calypso. What can we do to work with those people to develop our Calypso?
Okay, so I don't mean to stop you. I just, I just want people to understand the way I'm understanding. I'm happy you were sent to the show, by the way, so we could have a little history. So you're saying that you wish that you could see more, not just local acts on the show, but more Calypso, because Calypso is the foundation of the World Creole Music Festival. Okay. I just want to be sure that's what you were saying.
That's what I'm saying.
So not just local, not just the bouillon, and we have contemporary bouillon, which we'll get into soon.
We'll get into soon.
But you're not just talking about those. You want to see more Calypsonians on stage.
Very good. That colorful instrumentation that music that you could feel and understand, and supplement it with musical art forms from other countries.
Okay.
But not let musical art forms from other countries dominate what's happening in Dominica.
Okay.
Okay? So we saw evolution of simple bouillon music. And that has been given prominence in Dominica. Guys are no longer singing and telling a story. Guys are talking. And recently we heard nasty music, nasty business, or nasty music, or nasty music, nasty business evolving.
Do we have
How do
some
we
of
manage
the
that process?
Do we have some of the initial bouillon, the indigenous bouillon, the one
If-
that
if-
started?
Yes.
So, yeah, you can look for
WCK.
some. Okay.
Yeah. And you see what has happened to the bouillon. What has happened to the bouillon? How are we managing that process? How are we improving continuously? Yes, time is changing, but how can we improve on what we're doing continuously? Not simplify it, but improve on it. Keep the instrumentation. You've got a different style for the bouillon, but storytelling. You're singing, you're not chanting, you're not talking. These as well as just talking, saying what they want, when they want, where they want, you know. And I don't think that's the kind of area we need to go to develop our musical art form. Our young persons.
I think we
have
have.
it?
Yes, I think we have it now. We have a boss DJ here, you know.
Somebody know the cooks of the land. Chef Boise, Chef Bouillon, Chef Police, Chef Orchestre. We'll be serving the bouillon while it's hot and spicy. Feel it! Hold it with the kettle on, hold it with the kettle on, the all and see. Soup is sticking out again, soup is sticking out again, the all and on. Hey! Here we go!
All right. So you remember this one?
Yes, I remember this one, and Kong Shell and so on. Your WCK was so colorful with Cornell Phillip arranging the music, and you had Rap Peters doing the singing. It was very colorful. Not only WCK, but also First Serenade. First Serenade was also very productive. Very, very productive. They're still around, they're still producing, and I'm happy about that. But because of the evolution of the bouillon music, our young people have been culturalized and socialized differently. So the kind of priorities, the kind of drive that has a young person, our young persons today don't have that drive because of the way they have been socialized and culturalized. They are more indifferent, they are more easygoing. And consequently, you're not getting the contribution to the development of your country. People are just stand back and allowing other persons to come in to do everything in Dominica. And this is very, very important.
I love being host and not guest.
Yeah.
However, as a host, I have to ask the questions that people out there listening, our audience may be asking. So, as a young person, I do not like to hear young people because I still think that a lot of people your age and older than what we call young people are the ones calling the shots. So I do not like to hear when you say young people because we're not the ones calling the shots. We might be the one who patronizing, but we're not calling the shots.
But you're influencing.
Yeah, of course we
Yeah,
influence,
yeah.
but influence is okay. So fine, fair enough. However, I have a question after you finish what you're saying, but I
Yes,
just
yes.
wanted to talk about that young people bit because
But you see you're talking about the young people. What I am doing now for young people to help them to focus. Part of my private practice, I'm in private practice now. You know, I've retired from the service. I've changed tire. I not retire, I changed tire from the service. So I'm in private practice in accounting, auditing, consultancy, and I also lecture at the State College. And I enjoy lecturing at the State College because I'm contributing to the development of young people to provoke them to think freely, to understand cost and management accounting, but to provoke them to think generally as to what we need to do when we need to do it. Okay? So I am not talking about the situation in isolation. I'm also intervening and trying to see how I can help and contribute to the development of young people.
But we spoke about evolution of the different
Yeah.
music. We said that Trinidad started with calypso. It then evolved into soca. Jamaica started with reggae, then evolved into dancehall. And even beyond dancehall, there's several little genres and things that came out. And you'll find the older people in Jamaica having the same issue, saying that the music nowadays is not as conscious and it's not as roots and everything as what they started with. So there's this constant evolution within everything. So I understand we started with Calypso and it should be sung up to this day. I am all for that. Abia and Jerd and Lobster and all these people evidence that it's been continued. However, it may be that the market isn't there locally because we've moved away, or there was a lag in Calypso, and now the new generation went towards the Bouyon because they were not getting the Cadas that they needed. We've spoken about this over and over. This is Creole Heartbeat. It has happened. However, when you are presenting any form of festivity or just a product of what would you call music, entertainment, you have to give people what they want. And I think it is a little crude to say that because of the young people, we are just not doing this anymore. I think that when Cadas, is my considered opinion, that when Calypso went on pause, the young people found something new, or they found more entertainment in Bouyon, and that is where it is. I do understand some of the Bouyon music is simple. There are young people like myself that may feel like, songs should be masked, songs have their time and place, so it's not an everybody thing. However, if we would have just local bands on the festival, I can assure you the masses will say that's not what we want at this point. So please, I know you have all your thing, but please emphasize why you think that is so. Because if it's something that was so well constructed and you guys did a good job with a blueprint, why is it now our masses are actually reeling up when they do not get, for instance, let's take it. Last year, everybody wanted Burna Boy. Burna Boy is an international sensation. They didn't even say they want somebody from St. Lucia. They want Burna Boy. You understand where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. It's almost now like the patrons, they want this. And when you are providing entertainment, you have to provide what your patrons want. So just give me a little, your view. I know people at home thinking this, and we kind of just, and I'm going back to my corner and you just give the information.
Yeah. It's a function of socialization and culturalization. How you socialize people, how you culturalize them. And we saw up to 2000 how we were in music, how we were socializing and culturalizing our people. But from then onwards, the management of the World Creole Music Festival has not paid attention, and I will come with my recommendations, to development and the maintenance of Calypso.
Okay.
They've gone in the direction where they treat the festival as 3 nights of jam. In the earlier phases, yes, it was dominated by local bands, especially local bands that were very, very impressive on the international scenes, the Gramax, the Exile One. But notwithstanding, we saw the need to bring in the Haitian bands, to bring in the American, Bokwik Saidiko, and to bring in the fellow from Africa, the dancer from Africa, I don't remember his name, Sakis, and bring in African bands. So we saw the need to supplement our product to make it marketable.
Yes.
But you move from that stage where you moved away from your local colorful music, and you're at a stage now where you have 16 foreign bands in your festival. This is critical.
Yeah, and I agree.
The management.
But do you think it's just a management thing, or it is a thing as to giving people what they want?
No, management, because the point I'm making here, how you socialize people, what you provide them with, the music you provide them with. If you provide them with American music, with the nasty music and that kind of thing there, over and over again, you socialize them, you culturalize them, you get them to think that way and to stay with that type of music.
So are we saying that the DJs and the radio stations are providing people with that kind of music, or we're saying that the festival keep bringing in this type of people? So we need to understand what you're saying.
The festival has gone in that direction, and because they've gone in that direction of the poor management, they will not, and you'll see, I'll come to my recommendations in a while. They're not linking in with the radio stations to ensure that the radio stations play our local music. Have you ever heard Matt Peltier playing a song by Full Serenade? He plays reggae. Huh? He plays American rhythms. Why can't he play he comes from Point Michel. Why can't he play at least one song from Full Serenade? So we need, and when I come to my recommendation, I'll be talking about that. How can the Festival Commission and the Cultural Division work with the musical, the stations to see how we could promote that kind of music? I agree. And when I deal my recommendation, I agree. Go ahead.
Good morning, Creole Heartbeat.
Judith, good morning. How you doing? You know I'm always listening.
Hey, how are you?
First time I get to see your face, I saw you in a pretty dress last week on Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
You were looking real fly, you know.
Thank you.
But anyway, to you and Mr. Landa. Good morning, Mr. Landa.
Good day.
Mr. Landa, let me say something to you. I understand what you're saying as far as putting Dominica on the world stage. And it has been like that ever since the World Creole Music Festival started. And I hope it continues. But let me say something to all those who most of the time speak about no local acts. There is always local acts on there. But the politics has gotten too deep into the Creole Festival that it only takes selected people. The government running the World Creole Music Festival. Notice I keep repeating words. When you started it as a World Creole Music Festival. So if you have lots of bands coming from the Creole world, and when people speak of Creole, they most of the time mean African people throughout the globe, throughout the world. So you're going to have music from Africa, throughout the Caribbean, Latin America, wherever, because you have a World Creole Music Festival. But I do understand your emphasis on local. But you cannot, like Julie said a while ago, have a certain amount of local bands, because what you do, you put a lot of the people who would want to come and see certain other acts out. You lose money, you lose participation. So let's stick to that and understand where we are with that. But as far as your contribution, I just want to say thanks for your contribution for what you did in the creation to man like you and Sheridan and, Gordon. Great contribution. And it has been good for the last 20 years. The only way to fix it right now, the government has to keep their hands off of that. You have a certain people that is not connected to the government. Everybody don't have to be in the government. You could have one government, two government people, because you have to get the funds and relay back and forth to the administration. But overall, you need a committee, like a carnival community, a festival committee that is not under control of the government, where they say who gets what and giving tickets to Parep and Parep giving tickets to constituents. So all these things have muddied the thing and make it to where it's at now. And this is the frustration of you and many other people and myself, because it used to be a regular thing I would come home for. But sometimes I don't really care to come because it's too controlled by one entity, And the last thing I want to say to you, my brother, you knew Fitzroy Williams from day one, like you say, he lived close in your neighborhood, so you all know one another. I think a tribute to Fitzroy is way overdue. Let me say something about Fitzroy Williams, because I'm a music fanatic. I listen to all kind of music. I love music from jazz to blues and ragtime, everything. Fitzroy Williams is one of the baddest keyboardists to come out of the Caribbean, bar none. And I would take that up with anybody. The boy is wicked. He's the baddest. That's one of the baddest I've seen. Jamaica have man like Monty Alexander, and Jackie Mito, and them kind of keyboardists, you know, Frankie Paul. But when we talking about, Eagle was good. But when you're talking about creative and showman, man who could handle a keyboard like it's a toy, Fitzroy Williams is one of the baddest I've seen and heard out in the region, because I listen to all kind of Caribbean jazz, all kind of Caribbean music. This is what I do. This is what I love to do. And this is one of the things that I could put the argument for with that. So, my brother, do what you can. Fitzroy Williams made a tribute and big time recognition that he's not getting it. I never hear nobody go out on the limb and talk about Fitzroy like they have talked about Chubby, Gordon, and everybody else. And I know Fitzroy Williams has played a big role in the Cardinals business. Listen to his album, Lucifer and the other one. Nobody, they don't play his music on the radio. Him, Julie Morella, and them guys. You have to hear them. You always group what's your name? The one from Maho. Halibut. Where's the band name from Maho?
Bells Combo.
Halibut
is still doing good.
But give Fitzroy some play, man, and you'll hear some other things, because I think Fitzroy needs more recognition than he gets. But I'm listening, my brother, great conversation, and thank you for your contribution. Julie, I'm bye.
All right, thank you for your call.
Yeah, it's appropriate that you play that song, because during our time in the festival, we had a group put together, Cornell, Mikel, and this fellow who was singing there, his name doesn't come to mind. I'm aging now. His name was Elijah Benoit. We used to put that group together, and that group used to provide us with a theme song for each festival. That's where we're going in the stuff. That's where we're going, in that direction. But we're seeing now that over the last 2 decades, because of the mismanagement, so to speak, the festival has deteriorated into 3 nights of jam. This year, the 27th, the 20th, and 29th, we're going to have 16 foreign bands performing in our festival. And you have people like Barry Hammond. What market does Barry Hammond have? What market? Tabu Combo. We could have gotten a young, interesting band out of Haiti, because I respect Haiti for their musical presentation and their art presentation. I respect them a lot for that. And we've got the festival on the 27th, 20th, and 29th. And there is a mad festival, and the name mad, they're really mad, on the 25th and 26th. So you're going to have 5 nights of festival. Somebody's going to suffer.
I want to take this call, and this is our final call for the show, so you can give us recommendations and all. Good morning, Creole Heartbeat. Okay, I think we lost that call.
Okay. So I am saying...
Good morning, Creole Heartbeat.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, we'd like to hear your contribution.
This is the program. Lunch, right? What are you doing lunch?
I'm cool, and I'm
been a long time. Been a long time.
Yeah, when somebody call me Runch, I know they know me from a long time.
No, you are a former Spartanite, man. Don't worry. You
of course. We won championships together in Spartans.
I will actually support you, because what I'm saying is, we have the argument we have in the World Creole Music, they need to change the name. We can't be a World Creole Music Festival and have 2 Creole bands. 2 Creole bands. I mean, what kind of Creole, what type of a Creole festival? When you go to Jamaica Ranch and they have reggae songs class, it's reggae. That hasn't changed. And this argument about giving what they want, and it's foolishness. You have to keep up the tradition. It's Creole, and now they didn't change the name around. They didn't change it. You know more the Creole Festival. So you can't 16 bands like the foreign bands saying R&B or kind of thing, hip hop, and talk about Creole Festival. That doesn't make sense. Thanks.
All right, thank you for your contribution.
But let me say that I don't know, and like Miggy calls me uncle. I call him Miggy. And this is a young fella I have a lot of respect for, and I understand he's involved in the Mad Festival. I don't have a problem with the Mad Festival, but I have a problem with the timing. Another time in the year, we could have identified another time in the year to have that festival. the Creole in the park, the Creole duvet in the afternoon time to involve people. I think these are very good ideas. And we subscribe to those ideas in our days, where we were talking about off-city events. So you could occupy people during the course of the day. But then to have that festival preceding the World Creole Music Festival, somebody's going to suffer. You can imagine if Wadix had his Kadas Festival preceding the World Creole Music Festival, what they would say about Wadix. But Wadix chose another time of the year to have his Creole Music Festival and is doing a great presentation. So I believe MAD could choose another time of the year to produce that same festival that they're going to produce before the World Creole Music Festival. But who is managing? Who is in charge? Who is in charge? Somebody in charge should say to MAD, this is not the right time. You cannot have 5 nights of festival. Somebody's going to suffer. And look at the state of our economy. You're going to depend on foreigners to take care of those 5 nights? Our economy is stagnant. We are not producing anything in Dominica. And people, the amount of money, disposable income is very limited. You find bakeries having problems selling bread. Rum shop have problems selling rum. So things are tight. And you've got to manage things sagaciously so you get the optimal return on your investment.
Okay, so what do you recommend?
What I recommend, my recommendations. I recommend that 2 agencies, the lead agencies, the Cultural Division and the DFC, pay attention to those recommendations. First thing, a resuscitation of the cultural industry concept. We need that cultural industry. What are we doing? Are we having free nights of jam, or we are developing a cultural industry? So we need to resuscitate that concept. 2, we need to engage the radio stations to play Kadas Lipso music. The various radio stations. I remember there was a consultation, and Tim Dura at that time was working at DBS. And Tim Dura said that they were allocated a certain amount of local music, Kadas music, to play by each DJ. And this is where the Kadas music was taken off. We engage the current musical bands to include in their repertoire Kadas Lipso. Asa Bantan has tried a calypso recently and it was very good. Asa Bantan is from Grande. Asa Bantan can sing his bouillon because he's one of the fellows making the penetration all over the Caribbean with his bouillon. You can imagine if this guy adds to his repertoire Kadas Lipso, the appeal he would have for another group of people. And the growth that he can go through. Signal Band, Anubayo Love. That was a very good creation of Kadas Lipso by Signal. Can we engage Signal Band to play more of that? You have Ecstasy Band from Tisavan. And they say they are compass specialists. Can they involve Kadas Lipso in their repertoire? You would ever hear a Haitian band saying they are Kadas Lipso specialists? Notwithstanding, if you feel comfortable if you're compa, play your compa. But we should try to get you to play Kadas Lipso as part of your repertoire. Also, TK International. You can talk to them and see how you involve them and influence them to involve that. Continue playing your music that you love. The music that you love. But in your repertoire, include Kadas Lipso to appeal to a different market, to grow your product. The 4th recommendation, which is very important, I would like to see the production of free classic Kadas Lipso CD in collaboration with the owners of the music to raise funds for local Kadas Lipso programs and to also make the music readily available to radio stations. So the Cultural Division and the DFC, you speak to the producers of music, Exile, Gramax, Bells Combo, all the different people involved there, groovers, and you produce free high-quality CDs that you can sell to make money. When that money is made, use that money, the Cultural Division, to get involved in development of the cultural industry. You could also do electronic sales. The state we are now, you could sell those CDs electronically to generate music for the development of the Kadas Lipso
Albums,
platform.
not CDs.
Yes,
albums.
Yeah, albums.
Yes.
Albums. When you generate that money, then you can host seminars, workshops for existing musicians and potential musicians focusing on the resuscitation of our cultural industry with Kada Slipso as a main pillar. Why do you do that? You could host appropriate musical presentations from your seminars and your workshops. You can host appropriate musical presentation. The Olin Bully House of Culture, which was the Arak House. What was happening to there? What is happening in the Arak House of Culture? Which we say we're going to name it Olin Bully. Olin Bully was one of my lecturers at the grammar school. A very good guy. So what is happening? That's a gold mine. That's a gold mine where you can have presentation shows and cinemas and so on over the weekend. When I was a little fella and I was making brick behind a chick, we used to go to movies. People can't go to movies anymore. Nobody can go. No movie session in Dominica. And you've got the Arak House of Culture or Olin Bully House of Culture where you can have those presentations. Also, you can have those presentations at the Cultural Division grounds. We should allow those recommendations would allow the cultural industry to contribute to economic development.
Yes.
We've got to look at all the pillars of economic development: agriculture, agribusiness, manufacturing, information and communication technology, the cultural industry, and how we could blend it together in a master plan to develop Dominica. Finally, I'd like to say this festival, the World Creole Music Festival, is our festival. And it's done in Dominica. So I encourage Dominicans, notwithstanding what I have said and the recommendations I've made, I encourage Dominicans to support the festival. Thank you very much, Julie.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Give me some cadas there.
You're going to tell my DJ what to play. So this was an interesting one. It felt like one of Mr. Lander's lectures today. I hope that we got something from it and we can maybe use some of his recommendations. And I admonish the public to support the festival.
Yes. It's our thing.
I would also love that WADX would send a young person our way so we can see what their views are. Because, I'm not entitled to give my views, it's in depth as a host, but it's definitely something that I think we need to hear from both sides, because a decision cannot be made just because you were part of the blueprint for the festival. We have to think of evolution and the fact that it has to continue and develop in a healthy, comprehensive, well-rounded way. But we thank you for your information today. It was a great one.
What I would say, Julie, before you close off, you see what shirt I'm wearing?
Yes, it is.
Over 20 years. Over 20 years. And I'm wearing it today specifically to demonstrate I'm a lover of this festival.
Yes.
Obviously means.
Oui, and Jordan says Journée chapeau pie. So I hope if you see me in town, I'm wearing a brown dress and my chapeau pie, that you will just pause and have me take a little picture so we can put it on our Creole Heartbeat page. The page and the business that promotes everything Dominica. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. I'm your host, Julie Roberts. My guest was Mr. Ron Lander, and we spoke about the evolution of the World Creole Music Festival, where it was, where it is now, and where we intend to see it. Enjoy a beautiful independent season, and we're signing out. Have a brilliant weekend. A brilliant weekend. Until next time, have a great one. Bye-bye.
Nous travaillons pour nous pousser ça. Nous travaillons pour nous arranger ça. Nous travaillons pour nous